"You know what?" asks Ben, rubbing his ample stomach. "I'm hungry. We must have been asleep for some time in that bed." "It's late afternoon," says Donald. "I'm sure we're all hungry." Liz, Malin, and the dwarf Carrick had spent a lot of cash in the Gold Dragon buying themselves a slap-up lunch while their friends were lying in a dangerous castle under a spell. They just looked at each other, making it clear to say nothing of this and pretend to be hungry. "Let's find a room with some tables and chairs," says Ben. They return to the second bedroom and sit themselves on some small dusty chairs and perch on the edge of the bed. They take out their rations. Malin says, truthfully, he isn't hungry and offers some to Sylvia. She smiles kindly and thanks him. "I'm very hungry," she admits. "Why don't you tell us your story?" Ben asks the elf. Sylvia takes a quick drink of water and begins. "My mother and father are elven nobility. They are also great warriors who led many armies and defeated many foes in battle. One of the worst was a necromancer called Vigarlin, who seems more like a demon from the pits of hell. He fled the battlefield as his forces were routed by my family and went into hiding for centuries. I was born 100 years ago. I am the first and only child of my parents. Elven children are rare. My parents had a feast to celebrate my birth. Everyone was invited, and I was bestowed with many gifts, many of them magical. And then, at the end of the gift-giving, Vigarlin appeared. They say he rose from the ground in a column of fire. He was not happy at being forgotten. He strode over to me where I lay in the crib and laid a curse on me as a gift." "Did it involve a spinning wheel?" asks Liz, thinking she had heard this story before. "No," replied Sylvia, not getting the reference. "The curse was that on my 100th birthday I'd be struck dumb and witless, and wander the earth with no idea of who I am and where I was going." "And it came true?" says Liz. "No," Sylvia replied again, not getting Liz's tone. "There was one guest, a fey being, who had yet to give her gift. She could not undo the curse, but had enough magic to change it. I would not be witless, but I would wander Mistamere looking for something, and I wouldn't know what it was until I'd found it. And my wandering, for some reason, took me here." "A gesh is no easy thing to live with," says Ben. "This thing that you're looking for, what could it be?" "It could be anything," says Sylvia. "It could be a lost temple in the mountains, or it could be something as simple as a wooden cup. I don't even know what will happen to me when I find it." "If you find it," says Donard. "If you're going to wander the lands without purpose, then you could join us. We're looking for a character called Bargle." "Bargle," says Sylvia vaguely. "I remember that name. I think I may have met him. He may have invited me here, offering me a cure for my curse." "This Bargle is a curse in himself," says Malin. "He's also a murderer." "Then I'll help you find him," says Sylvia. "Well, that's everything settled," says Liz. "Shall we get a move on?" So now that everybody is fed and rested, we're going to go down into dungeon level 2. As I've said, I believe is called Kill Bargle. And it's rather nice. It's on about 4-5 pages. There is a level 3. We won't be going down into that level 3. It's far too hard. This level 2 has a lot of level 1 and level 2 monsters, and this has ogres and crystal statues. It just escalates. Right, okay. So we're coming down these stairs here. Right, and there's a room here with 2 closed doors. Right, and we're going to take our time exploring this room because there's a statue in the middle. And the statue is of Gygar, the wizard who owns Castle Mistamere. As they examine the statue, Liz is going to search for traps. And she doesn't find anything, but she does find an inscription that says the orb is the key, and the statue has open hands, and one of the hands is cup-shaped, where there's obviously a missing orb. So putting 2 and 2 together, they find the orb and put it in the hand of the statue. It should be some kind of key. Now we can either go north or south, and there's 2 stuck doors. We're told that all of the doors are made of wood, while most of them are stuck. They are not locked. Okay, I don't know how we'll do. Most of them are stuck. Sylvia and Liz can listen at doors, and they're going to listen at the north door. And with a roll of a 1 or 2, they hear something. They hear nothing. They're going to listen at the south door, and again, they hear nothing. So what will they do? North or south? 1 to 3 north, 5 to 6 south. Oh, the tension there. That was Sylvia. She was undecided. And everybody, apart from Ben, wants to go north. It's up to Ben, who didn't want to go north, to shoulder open this door on a roll of a 5 or 6. And he fails. Donard says he'll give it a go. Whoops. And he fails. What about Carrick, our retainer? He does it easily. He's the dwarf. He just tries turning the handle and then opening it. Okay, so we can here, and we can go north or east. North ahead looks like a dead end or a room. You can see that. And there's another room in here. We'll do another listen. We'll listen to the east. Oh, and both Liz and Sylvia hear something. What do they hear? They hear kobolds talking. And then they'll go to the north. And they don't hear anything. So I think, judging from that, they're going to go north. Shuttering their lantern. That's Malon's job, by the way. They enter into this room here, and there are 4 giant rats. Okay, they rush out from their nest to attack if disturbed in any way. Yeah. What I like about this little thing is that it gives you all the monster information in a nice clear table, in much the way that it does in the actual manual. If you look at some of the modules, they try to condense everything into this code on 2 lines. I mean, talk about tight. Right, anyway, 4 giant rats. Okay, let's not break the 4th wall. And they each have 2 hit points. And AC 7. Now, do we surprise them? Mutual surprise. Okay, let's roll for initiative. Mutual initiative. Right, remember Ben is on the back line doing crossbow duty. So the only 2 in the front are Donard and our retainer Carrick. Missile duty first. And everybody's a 1d6. So it's Ben. Misses. Sylvia. 19 plus 4 hits. Takes out a giant rat. Liz. Misses. Right. Melee. Donard's Warhammer. 9 plus 1 is a 10. AC 9 he hits. And they have AC 7. That's a miss. Let's see if our retainer can take out 1. No, he misses. Right, the rat's turn. Damage 1d3 plus disease. Alright. So there's 3 left, 2 on Donard. First one misses. That's AC 7. Second one misses. There's 1 on our retainer. He's not happy, he didn't sign up for this. It misses. That was round 1. We're on round 2. We win initiative. Let's just finish this. Right. Bow duty. Ben. Hits. Does 2 damage. 1 gone. Sylvia. 10 plus 1 for short range is 11. AC 8. Nope, that's a miss. Liz. Misses. Okay. Right, 2 frontline guys. Donald with his warhammer smushes a rat into the ground. Oh my god, that poor thing. It's probably got a big square indent in its back where the warhammer hit it. Carrick. Whoops. 12 plus 2 strength is 14. AC 5 hits. 1. Miserable though it is, he gets a plus 2 bonus, which is 3, and that's 4 dead giant rats. And we're going to rest and search the room, and we find a finely crafted short sword. And the only person who has short sword skill is Liz, though it doesn't really say what the benefits of the finely crafted are. Maybe it looks nice. So here we are. And I suppose it just makes sense to continue on. Or after that success, do we think we're going to take on the kobolds? I think we'll continue on. Okay, and we go north, and we're at a funny junction. Here we can see into 46, and that is an alcove. And there's a statue of Bargle here, though none of us have seen Bargle. But it's a statue. Maybe it says, "Here is Bargle" as an inscription. But it seems to be guarding these stairs down here. Alright. So that leaves us to go east, which is another junction. So we'll walk up to the junction. And this is clearly from here. You can see this is a dead end. This is a small room. And in this small room is the body of a dead elf. Sylvia walks over to it to see if it's one of her own kind. And sure enough, it is a Kalari elf with pale blonde hair. She didn't know him, but nonetheless, that's sad. 18 years ago, an elf explorer fell victim to one of this dungeon's numerous dangers, stumbling all the way to this chamber before he perished. Written in elf, not elvish, written in elf, on the wall above the adventure is the phrase, "Beware yellow mould." God, imagine if that was your dying words. While most of his gear has rotted away, his sword and spellbook still remain. The spellbook contains the spells Read Magic, Magic Missile, and Sleep. Right, obviously Sylvia can read the words on the wall. Now, what about this spellbook? It says in the manuals, it seems to indicate that spellbooks are unique to the wizard who owns them, and that if you want to learn new spells, you can learn them from scrolls, and wizards do not give over their spellbooks for other wizards to copy from. Now, this guy's dead, so he doesn't have any say in the matter. Is that why this is here? Are we meant to be able to use this spellbook to copy spells from? Unless that is something that appeared later in the rules cyclopedia, I'm not going to implement it. It's just a relic and of no value. So that leaves us going further back into this long corridor, which again leads to yet another junction. Right, and if we look down here, it seems to open up into a room. So we're going to go into this one. 54. Tattered armour, rotting flesh, and yellow bones lie strewn across the floor of this small chamber. A search of the corpses here reveals a pair of small belt pouches. One pouch contains 22 copper pieces, while the other contains 4 copper pieces and a tiny quartz worth 10 gold. We'll keep the quartz, but the copper's probably more trouble to carry than it is value. And it says here spider victims. And I think Ben would easily recognise the fact that there are puncture marks in the bodies of these victims and they're drained of nearly all their fluid. They're quite desiccated. And if anything, there would be cobwebs lying around. Or maybe, actually, they would be bound with webs the way spiders do tie up their victims. Okay, so there's obviously spiders in here. Right, so they've nothing to do but go onward. We'll do that next time. Hello, I'm back after a break, and you might notice that all of this is already filled in. I was having such a good time that I played on and recorded it. When I looked back at the footage, there was no sound. I was really annoyed because we did really well. I could have put in some commentary post-production, but by the time I realised that I had deleted the footage, I was that annoyed. So we're here and we're expecting spiders, and spiders do leave webs, and I'm sure we'll see more webs appearing here and here. So we're going to shutter our lantern and look into here, and sure enough, there are 3 crab spiders. Now, crab spiders do poison, and also they do 1d8 damage, so these are not to be trifled with. Right, now the last time we got initiative, will we get initiative this time? We did win everything, right. And we do. And spells first, and Malin is going to cast his one and only sleep spell. He has to put down the lantern to do it. No, he gives the lantern to somebody and says, watch this. The 3 crab spiders fall asleep. I did check the sleep spell, and it does work on creatures. It isn't just humanoids. Creatures up to a certain size. So these 3 crab spiders die, or they fall asleep, and it's up to everyone else to go in and just finish them off. So that's how powerful magic is, and that's Malin's one spell for the day. Now they go in here. There is nothing else to find in this room, but they continue on, and they see this room is absolutely covered in cobwebs, and in the cobwebs are spider eggs. Ben takes one of his torches, lights it from the lantern, and immediately starts setting fire to them. And he sets fire to all the webs around here, and everybody comes out towards here. Now we walk along the corridor. We pass this. Now this is marked as a secret door. Now the speed of walking in a dungeon is slow, like 60 feet or 90 feet every 10 minutes. I mean, that's incredibly slow. And if you want to search for secret doors, it's even slower. It's like 10 minutes just to look for 10 feet. I'm going to double check on that one. Now there's no good reason why you would expect there to be a secret door as you walk down here. The only reason I can see is if you finish mapping the entire dungeon and you notice there's a hole here, you would look somewhere around that hole for a secret door. So we might actually end up doing that, but that wouldn't really happen until, as I said, the entire dungeon has been mapped and you wonder why this area is blank. So we're up here, and up ahead we see... what do we see? We see coins suspended in the middle of the air, and they seem to be jiggling and gyrating. Now that looks like magic. That looks like there's some sort of magical vortex keeping these gold coins in the air. Ben still has his torch, and the first thing he does is throw his torch into this area here. And it looks to be not magic, but instead some kind of shimmering jelly. It is indeed a gelatinous cube, a dungeon classic. Now the cubes do attack people. They move at a slower rate, about 1/3 slower, but that's still fast enough. So I'm guessing it just comes at us like some sort of big wobbling wall of jelly. So Now the fact that it has to close distance, you would think that the archers would get a free attack before it actually hits. You know, we saw it. No, I think it's closing fast enough. Let's just roll for initiative. And we get initiative. So, archers first. Interestingly again, there aren't any penalties for weapon types. So arrows firing into a jelly seem to be effective. Ben and his crossbow throws it at 20, always hits, does 4 damage. And this cube has 18 hit points. It's down to 14. It's also a level 4 monster. It gets very good 2-hit rolls. Liz. 11 plus 2 is 13. AC 6. And it has AC 8. She does another 4 damage. We're doing well here. Sylvia throws a 3. Oh well. Right. Donald throws a 4. God, we were doing so well. And our retainer throws a 7 plus 2 is a 9. He misses. 2 good hits. And followed by 3 misses. Now the last time I fought this, we did survive, but somebody did take damage. Now this is a 4-hit dice monster, which means in order to hit Donard with his AC of 3, it just needs a 13. And this is one thing I noticed, is that the monsters leveling up in their hit table is much faster than the players. But that is what it is. And it throws a 12. Just 1 off. Right. Next round, round 2. And we get initiative again. Right. Ben misses. Liz misses. Sylvia misses. Donard hits. Does 3 plus 1, 4 damage. It's down to 6. Our retainer. 11 plus 2 is a 13. Hits. Does 3 plus 2, 5. It's down to 1 hit point. And it gets its go. And it's on our cleric. And it throws an 8. It misses again. Initiative. We get initiative again. Right. Missile. Please. It's got 1 hit point. Ben hits. Arrow goes into it. And I expect it just explodes into some sort of flattened mess. Like a burst water mattress. Okay, so we pick through the cube's gold and we find 18 gold pieces and 12 silver pieces inside. Alright, time to move on as we creep further forward. We're in this room here and there are more stairs going downward. And there's some language here written in Kobold. We know what it is, well I know what it is because it says use other stairs. Bargle's orders, but nobody else can read Kobold, and we don't want to go down the stairs, so we go on even slower. And I had marked off all our light, and we come to another room. Now at the speed that we're going at, which is just 60 feet or 90 feet every 10 minutes, we're going to notice everything. And what we've noticed is the floor of this dungeon is rather dirty, apart from where the gelatinous cube has cleaned things up. But generally there's dust on the floor, there's footprints, there's bits. But this room is conspicuously clean. Now why would that be? What's up with the floor of this room? Ben is going to tap on the floor with his quarterstaff. Now, in all honesty, Ben uses his quarterstaff as a walking stick. He doesn't like to admit it, but the knees are getting a bit sore. So he taps on this floor and it sounds hollow. He doesn't find anything. I'll do Liz, and she doesn't find anything. Our dwarf goes to inspect. He doesn't find anything, but they're not going to go into it. There's something dodgy. The floor is hollow. There's something not right here. And they'd be right not to go into it, because this is a pit trap, and the entire room is a pit trap. And it was apparently placed here by kobolds, which implies a bit of engineering that I wouldn't have credited kobolds with. And this is what the trap does. Any creature walking through the centre of their chamber sets off the trap and falls in, taking 2d6 points of damage from the fall, and another 1d4 plus 2 damage from the spikes. A kobold skeleton lies at the bottom of the pit with a small wooden shield plus 1 still trapped to its arm. Let's see what that damage looks like. 2d6. That's 6 damage. Plus 1d4 plus 2. That's another 4 damage. That's 10. That's an instant death for any first level character. Unless you're a fighter with a constitution of plus 3, 18, and you've rolled 8 hit points, so you have 11. So going at the speed that we're going and noticing everything, we've noticed that that room is not all that it seems. So we're going to go all the way back at a fairly normal walking pace because we've investigated all this, and we're here, and that is where I'm going to leave it for today. Okay, see you next time.